Hi, I'm Ashley, and this is for my book of Life's Realities. This is my opinion on the growing concerns about racism and exploitation in this day and age. To emphasize a point, I will primarily focus this discussion on blacks, mostly Africans. This is a very sensitive subject. Many may be offended, but I hope some will understand my convictions and agree with my perspective. And please note that regardless of your stance, I approach this from a place of love and a strong desire for us to improve as a people. I am well aware of the history of slavery and past conditionings, but I genuinely believe that most black people are just hypocrites. And I say this because I am from a supposed black nation. It's often shocking to see how much black people complain about racism. When faced with racial discrimination, some get very furious, others are heartbroken, and some feel emotionally down. But my question is this: why do you feel that way? Did you expect the white man to love, respect, cherish, and treat you as his equal? If you answered yes, then ask yourself, as a black man, do you treat the next black person the way you wish to be treated? Take a moment, think without prejudice, and be honest with yourself. As black people, we often oppress, ignore, maltreat, humiliate, hate, and even kill each other. Yet, we expect the white people to treat us differently when we haven't shown love or even loved ourselves enough to attract the same respect. There is such a thing as white privilege. A simple Google search will tell you that white privilege is the inherent advantages possessed by a white person based on their race in a society characterized by racial inequalities and injustice. So, who or what is stopping black privilege? Is it because black people are honest and just? Certainly not. Or is it because white supremacists always come around to destroy every effort? I have seen videos of thriving black towns and communities in the United States that were destroyed for some very dodgy reasons. But that is still not enough. This, in my opinion, is a practice, the coming together of powerful black individuals without comparison, schisms, or backbitings. It's about the opportunities we create for the next black person with your influence, the access to opportunities that you provide, the protection you offer, the information you share to empower the next black person, even if it doesn't benefit you. It's about genuinely caring and supporting the next black person, not for what you might gain, but because you want them to succeed. It's about how the recipient takes those opportunities and make good use of them and not destroy the path for others. The list goes on. We may have different interests, but don't you reckon our visions can be one? To create an enabling environment where the next black person can thrive. See, until we address these issues, we shouldn't be quick to blame racism, as we would be skipping many important steps. I know some might think that an African living in Africa has no reason to worry about racism. So before we focus on that, let's first tackle Godfatherism, nepotism, and tribalism. These are the real killers, not racism. And I'll explain how. Let's talk about Africa. The first question is, why is Africa still so divided? I'll tell you. It happened in the late 19th and 20th centuries through the scramble for Africa and the Berlin Conference of the 1884 to 1885. The land was divided among European powers. But for this conversation, the focus is on today, not 1885. So I ask again, in 140 years, why is Africa still divided? Are there external powers working to keep Africa divided? Well, the answer is yes, because whether you realize it or not, they want all or most of what Africa has. It would be beneficial for them if many Africans were wiped off the face of the earth, and the ones left were just servants or slaves with no rights. But since you're still here, keeping the continent divided makes exploitation easier. This remains possible because Africa has not been determined enough to take control of the continent, its resources, and use them for its own benefit. I've seen many instances where African leaders complain about exploitation. So tell me, if all their actions amount to mere complaint, what then is the hope for the African people? Most politicians and leaders who govern millions of lives in Africa are the least qualified to be in those positions. And this is the typical cycle in some African nations, especially Nigeria. The people overly influenced by tribalism vote for obvious manipulative leaders who make decisions that hinder their lives directly and indirectly, simply because they have political ambitions and long-standing political experience. These leaders thrive on Godfatherism during their tenure, practice nepotism, working twice as hard to keep people weak, uneducated, impoverished, hungry, and tribalistic. Meanwhile, the populace suffering from Stockholm Syndrome campaign vigorously on fights to re-elect their captors, continuing the cycle. The leaders contribute to the exploitation of their nations because, as you know, if a country isn't invaded, attacked in war, or manipulated, exploitation becomes very hard. So how is Africa still being exploited? You might think it's mere manipulation, but think again, we're wiser than that. One method of exploitation is the submission to unnecessary loans, leading to unfair debts and trade terms, and in some cases, leaders allowing extraction of natural resources for personal gains. This situation is far worse than I can describe, leaving the average African feeling despised, often admiring the white counterparts overseas who seem to enjoy better lives and living conditions, despite Africa being the richest continent on earth. Many might argue that African leaders have tried to liberate their countries but were assassinated in the process. So I took the time to list a few of those people whose names go down in history as the people who stood for a change in their respective nations, and I can tell you why I feel there was still something missing. Number 1, Patrice Lumumba, the first Prime Minister of the DRC, assassinated in January 1961. Number 2, Sylvanus Olympio, a Togolese Prime Minister and a later President from 1958 to assassination in 1963. Number 3, Kwame Nkrumah, a Prime Minister of the Gold Coast from 1952 to 1957, and independence from Britain. The name became Ghana, and he was the first president from 1957 to 66 when the military coup overthrew him, and he was later killed in 1972. Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, number 4, the first and only Prime Minister of Nigeria, was overthrown and assassinated in 1966. Number 5, Steve Biko, a South African, was brutally beaten to death in 1977. Number 6, Thomas Sankara, who served as the president of Burkina Faso from 1983 until his assassination in 1987. And finally, number 7, Muammar Gaddafi, who was assassinated in 2011 for trying to unite Africa and create a single currency that would have been the greatest. The list goes on and on. If you examine closely, you'd realize that most of those individuals were fighting similar battles at around the same time, but they mostly did so in isolation. There was disunity which evidently made them vulnerable. As you're all aware, a broomstick is easily broken, but a bunch of them requires a tremendous amount of effort. That's if it can be broken at all. Today, Ibrahim Traoré, Abdul Rahmani and Assimi Goïta are the men working to free their countries. They have achieved notable success within the short period they have been in office, and there have been rumors of at least 19 assassination attempts on Ibrahim's life. You would note that they've been working for a little over 2 years, and other African leaders are not seeking to ally with them. They act like they don't see what's going on or don't know that the unity is needed for the continent to stand strong. So dear black people, my message is clear. Whether or not you agree with me, it is the core message. And I will end by sharing you this video.
This is what black people look like. It could represent black fraternities, sororities, black churches. And what you will notice about these beautiful, educated, money black people is that everybody's doing their own thing. Caught up in a Eurocentric value of rugged individualism, survival of the fittest. It's a trick. There is no power here, brothers and sisters. Willie Lynch understood this. This is where all the power is. Whether you're at the center of your own network or a part of other networks, this is where all the power is. There's a beautiful African proverb that says that when spiders unite, they can tie up a lion.